Today, Coffee with Karma travels to another dimension, not only of books, but of stories. You see that signpost up ahead? It points to a world where strategy meets suspense and structure meets soul. Your next stop? The Twilight Zone. And submitted for your approval, 5 storytelling lessons from Rod Serling's classic TV series that will transform how you teach, connect, and captivate. Because you're not just writing a book, you're bending reality one twist at a time. I had so much fun writing that. I had so much fun writing that. So, hi, my name is Carma Spence, and I help big thinkers, visionary leaders, and seasoned experts write, publish, and market books that attract clients, attract opportunities like speaking gigs and partnerships, and grow their business in a myriad of ways. If you're watching this video on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell so that it can get out and in front of all those people who are like you that want to grow their business using the leveraging power of books. So let's get to the 5 storytelling tricks that Rod Serling used in the Twilight Zone that you can also use in your nonfiction book to help grab the readers and keep them turning the page. So 1, start with a premise that feels familiar, then twist it. One of my favorite episodes that does this masterfully is the episode, and it stars William Shatner, but it's not the one you're thinking of. It's the one where he and his girlfriend are in a town and their car broke down. So they go into a little cafe, and at the table at the cafe is one of those things where you put some money in and it tells your fortune, and it gets weird from there. But it starts off very ordinary. It's just a loving couple. They're in a town, their car breaks down. That's happened to me. It may have happened to you. It almost ruined entire vacation when I was growing up. So this is something that happens. So how do you do this in your nonfiction book? You start with the ordinary, right? You're starting with the ordinary. What's ordinary in your world? So for example, let's say, I'm going to go have some fun with this. Let's say that you teach people how to weave baskets underwater. Okay? You're an underwater left-handed basket weaver. That's the example I like to use. Well, you might start off with the ordinary weaving baskets above water on land and say, this is how you do it, but I can show you how to do it underwater. There's the twist, right? There's the twist. I'm sure that there's something in your business that you could do that too. For example, maybe the ordinary is you're going to write a book, right? And there are basics to various books. However, if you want that book to attract clients, here's the twist. Start with something that they know that's familiar, then twist it. So that's number 1. Number 2, build curiosity through slow reveal. So instead of dumping everything into the intro, pace your revelations. Let the reader uncover insights like breadcrumbs leading to a mind shift. Now, in an episode of Twilight Zone that is also really good, is there is a young woman and her face is completely covered in bandages because she's had surgery on her face because she's so hideous that she wanted to look like everybody else. And you never see the doctor's faces. So through the entire episode, it seems relatively ordinary. Then it's a little odd, that you would have to have radical face because it turns out that this poor young woman is so hideous, right? Then at the end, you unwrap it. her face, and it's Ellie Mae from the Beverly Hillbillies. I don't remember her name, but that's who it is, and she's stunningly beautiful, right? And then the doctors gasp, "It didn't work! She's still hideous!" And then you see the doctors' faces, and their faces are all, "Ooh." So there was a slow reveal through that episode. Things that people were saying were a little odd, and a little odder, and a little odder until the very end. How do you do that in your nonfiction? You breadcrumb. You don't wanna dump everything of your method in one, like, "This is how you do it." No, no, no. You do it step by step so people can acclimate to each step. So, for example, when I talk about my how to find an idea, there are 3 major steps to that. So I cover one step, and we go deep into that. Then I say, "Okay, but that's not the end. Here's the next step," and we go deep into that. And that's not the end. There's one more step. I become Columbo. There's just one more thing. That's how you pull people through the book because they know there's something more coming, but you're giving it to them in bite-sized pieces that they can digest without being overwhelmed. Number 3, make the abstract tangible through characters. So the Twilight Zone externalized inner battles often, fear, pride, regret, through unforgettable characters. Your villains, procrastination, perfectionism, in my case, something else in yours, can come to life this way. So one of the best examples of this is the other one with William Shatner, the one you probably thought I was talking about first, the one I think it's called Terror. It's something several hundred feet. I can't remember what the exact name is, and he personifies anxiety and fear. And at first you think, just crazy. But then he sees the monster at his window. That's what I mean, honestly, I think Shatner's brilliant in that episode. He's just amazing. It's because you feel what he's you experience the fear through him. Well, what are the villains in your industry? So for example, this is an exact it's not necessarily a villain, but it is definitely a thing that can be a villain or it can be something that you embrace. And I call it the pink gorilla. And I've created all sorts of visuals of the pink gorilla. I've got videos of a woman dancing with the pink gorilla. The pink gorilla is that thing in your industry that everybody talks about. And you are either going to dance with it. In other words, either agree with it or give it your own personal twist, or you're going to confront it and say, that is a myth and I don't believe it. And this is why. The pink gorilla is my personification of this idea, this concept. You can do something similar. So if you are enjoying this video so far, I bet you would really get a kick out of my Mythic Bio Lab, which is coming up next Saturday. Not the one that's about to happen, but next Saturday, August 30th. So you have very little time to get in because there is a little bit of pre-work. It'll take you probably an hour, probably less than an hour, so that you can come to the lab and hit the ground running. So you want to register soon. And you can register by going to carmaspence.com/mythic bio. In this Mythic Bio Lab, we're going to take your raw life story, how it led up to doing what you do. We're going to forge it in the crucible of AI prompts into the hero's journey. Then we're going to layer in the language of your marketing archetype and then really pump up the experience of your bio by adding in sensory details. And what comes out the other side is a bio that captures the imagination of your ideal clients, makes them lean in, see themselves in your journey so that they have hope for the future if you guide them to that promised land. It is amazing. And I would love to see you there. I'm only doing 15 people because I want this to be high touch. We've already got a couple of seats taken, so they're going. They're going. So come join me at carmaspence.com/mythic bio. All right, let's get to number 4. Number 4 is inject morality without preaching. Every episode of The Twilight Zone had a moral, but it never was a lecture. Deliver your values and your takeaways through story, not instruction. Yes, you may need to do a little bit of instruction. So, for example, in my idea, I have to tell you how to do the steps, but I can give you the feeling of what those steps result in by telling stories, either of real people who've gone through it or even of a mosaic of people that I know, or even completely fictional, as long as I'm honest about it. But tell stories. Stories get people to lean in, to listen, to pay attention, and it helps them remember better. Number 5, speak in voice, not vibe. Rod Serling spoke the opening. His voice mattered, and I cannot do a Rod Serling imitation, or I would. Find your distinct cadence and authority, not just your tone, but your presence. If you've been watching these episodes of Coffee with Karma, I have a definite Karma voice. And it comes out in my videos, it comes out in my prose. When you read my stuff, you know Karma wrote it. Even if I had assistance from AI, you know that Karma wrote it because I never, never, never take AI at face value. Now, sometimes I might edit it less than other times because I got it right, but that usually only happens when the, the content's only at like a sentence. Find your voice. Find your voice and let it carry you through your book. Well, that is today's episode. I will be back next week with more good stuff. This is Carma Spence saying ciao for now.